Good morning, everybody. You know, all of this month of July, we've been following the theme of I am free to express my true nature. So I've had lots of time to reflect on this. And freedom is said to be a belief we hold in our mind. Freedom is said to be a loving expression we generate from our heart. And freedom is said to be a spiritual component. So whether or not freedom comes from our mind, our heart, or our spirit, it has something in common. It's an inside job. No one can give us freedom. If you ever think about that, sometimes like we have gone to armed conflict over gaining freedom, but personally, freedom is always an inside job. And with that freedom, by divine intelligent design, we have been given free will. And people have done very interesting things with free will throughout history. And we are free to live our lives in victimhood if we choose. That God and everyone is against them. Do you meet anybody like that ever in your life? Maybe you've been there a couple of days. But live their lives in victimhood or to ruin your own life and people around you by addiction. And there's plenty of substance abuse, even here on the coast. But to ruin your life with addiction, that's your free will. That's your right. Or to go to the other side, which is to see and develop yourself, learn and acknowledge what your own special, unique gifts are that you offer, and to really go out and connect with the world. And those that choose to be victims often never see their own special gifts that they come into this world with, that they can stay insulated and they can stay afraid. Now, from my understanding, that's kind of the range of where free will is. And of course, there's a multitude of variations within those extremes. And I find that those who are open to their potential, use their gifts, join with spirit, also come to know what joy and lasting reward looks and feels like. Does that seem true for you? And as we know, life isn't an everyday mountaintop experience. It just isn't. That we learn from the choices that we make. We learn from backsliding a little bit. We learn from advancing. And if we're aware of what's happening to us, we can see and grow and become wiser and happier during the course of our lives. And Esther Hicks, some of you know all about this, channels an entity known as Abraham. And in that channeling, Abraham says it's all about contrasts, that we have come into this life to experience contrasts. Some things please us, some things don't, that we experiment, we see what happens. Life throws us some of the experiments, we see what happens. And life isn't black or white. It isn't even gray or shades of gray. My life is technicolor, and I hope yours is too, where sometimes it's bright colors that are really appealing and other colors don't satisfy as much. But we have all of these experiences that we go through, and we can choose to learn from those because we came here to learn. And as a result of learning, we can grow wiser and stronger and happier and feel more free. Or we can feel defeated, isolated, and afraid. The choice really is our own. Last month in June, we heard two views that I think are relevant today. One was from Joseph Bernard, a PhD in psychology, and he said we have a set point. About 50% of what we believe today was instilled in us by our parents. And each of us can change that ratio, that percentage, by what we experience through travel, through reading, through changing our spiritual beliefs. So we aren't fixed on that, but that's a common 50%. Dean Schrock, also holding a PhD in psychology, said that spiritually, we pre-select our family. Before we come into this body as a child, we pre-select our family. So we have a range of experiences once we're here that we can grow from, and that family offers that to us. Whether we're close or we're estranged or we love them or we hate them or some combination, we have pre-selected our family. So that's a lot of viewpoints. And the Course in Miracles says all that we see is an illusion. All that we see is an illusion. That the ego or the egoic mind is a block to that which is true and lasting. And then in the study of A Course in Miracles, we go deeper and learn to decompose a lot of those elements and get closer to what really is true in our lives. So A Course in Miracles, that's another viewpoint. And Jesus said, and encourage us to become new, again, like a child with a mind that's open to receive. So this is just a handful of viewpoints amongst bookshelves of viewpoints about who we really are, right? You probably encountered dozens of them yourself. So what is our true self that I am free to express? And I want to concentrate a little bit on that. So beyond your name, your career that you did, your family, or what you do with your time, like hobby or what you watch or listen to or read, or those you associate with, who is this true nature? Who is this true nature? Is it any of those things? Your name, your career, your family, how you use your time? Is it any of those things? And my viewpoint is a little bit different. Most likely, your true nature is your own shining soul, getting way down there. Your shining soul that resonates with a light within you, much like this symbol right here, that is part of your divine DNA. We all have divine DNA. We all have a divine light within us. And that light is connected not only to the Holy Spirit, but also to every other soul. Every other soul. So when we are with our true self, these are some of the qualities that you might recognize in yourself or within others. A sense of calmness and peace. A love that just flows. A sense of love that just flows from you to others, and you see it coming back. It's just a flow of love. And fear, worry, anxiety just isn't there. It's not in the formula. And creative activities start to arise. Music, for example, whether you listen to music and you find you're really appreciating some variety of music, or you want to learn to play, or you do play and you play more often. You might find yourself humming or singing, never mind the key, that you get involved with the visual arts. You know, you look at things that other people have done with a different eye. You might find yourself doing something, sketching or doodling, or some way expressing yourself in a way that you haven't before. Your creativity may come into cooking. You may want to perfect the perfect souffle or the best barbecue or whatever it is, but that is an expression coming through you. And then, of course, connecting with nature. And we are so blessed down here on the Oregon coast because it is so easy to connect with nature. Here's something that I think you'll find, that as you get into your shining soul, you will think less. Your busy mind will slow down, you will think less, and you will listen more. You will actually hear what other people are saying, and you will find it more interesting. You will hear more bird song. You will hear more of the other sounds of nature. Sunsets might become more brighter and more wondrous. And this is something I find from time to time, that time becomes a variable. It doesn't become static, it becomes a variable. And time can move at a different pace. So you can get a lot done in a little bit of time, or you could lose hours completely because you're engaged in whatever it is you're doing. You may wander into a field of joyous wonder. You ever had that happen? You're having a really good day and everything seems kind of magical and you're just relaxed and you're just there. And as we want more of that feeling, we're probably going to be less content with being triggered. And triggered's a really big word. Being triggered by social media claims, headlines that claim they're broadcasting truth, and daily family dramas. In some families, that's a big one. Daily family dramas. Then any demands on you to behave as you once believed you should or you must. Have you ever heard the phrase that you've been should upon? You've been should upon? And most of the time we're doing that one to ourselves. And what used to work for you might not be working as well now. It's like outgrowing clothes when you're a child and you put on something that fits. And you may find that you are choosing to be freer and closer to your true nature. And I think that's what really life is about, is getting closer to your true nature, not what somebody like our parents or our friends or some other reference group tells us that we should be, but what we find brings out our best. And each day and each moment of each day, we get to choose what that is. And some days, as we know, we get to elevate back up to that mountaintop where it's really cool and we can see all around and you feel really good and all those chemicals are working and you feel amazing. And then other days we slip back down a ways into our well-worn ways. And all of us have well-worn ways. And I see it like a dance, you know, up and down and here and there, a process even that lasts a lifetime. where we have experiences, and how we react to those experiences tells us whether we're near the mountaintop or we're down a ways from that. Or maybe we're underwater for a little while. But we get to choose the sense of freedom that comes from that. And life is a series of those contrasts between what we like and what we don't like, what seems to be working for us that pulls us, and those things that pulls us away from feeling content and joyous, and those things that move us toward that. So whatever's happening in your life, just take a moment and check in and see if it's moving toward a point of joy or away from a point of joy. And then with that awareness, you can make those little adjustments whenever you choose to. And I've got a handout for you today. And I'm going to ask Linda to pass these out for you. And you can take something to write with as well. Oh, something to write with. There you go. And I've been involved with some of the work that Michael Beckwith, Beckwith, some of you have probably heard of him, over the years, out of Los Angeles. He's become an internationally known headliner and keynote speaker. And he deals a lot with positivity and with life visioning. And he calls for us to not talk down to ourselves. You know, that daily talk we have, not talk down to ourselves, but to ask some empowering questions. And then to sit with yourself until you find an answer. You know, Myrtle Fillmore, co-founder of the Unity Movement, had health issues, and she was told that she inherited disease, right? And she would not live a full life. Well, after hearing the talk, she made a change in her life. And for 2 years, she went into a room, closed the door, set up an empty chair across from her, and had discussions with Spirit, with God, whereby she sought to have full health and then affirmed the fullness of health in her body that she was receiving, and she was grateful for all the parts that worked for 2 years. Now, unlike Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with God, such a blockbuster that he wrote 3 volumes or 4 volumes, she never had a direct response from God, Holy Spirit, the Archangel Michael, or any of the other archangels or high gods. Instead, what happened with her is she got better. And the same thing for her husband. He never heard one word from God. But as he sat in silent unity, in prayer and in openness, what happened to his life and his family's life? It got better. It got better because he became a receptive channel for good. And as a result of that, the unity movement was born, not because they wanted to create a religion, but because people kept coming to them and saying, "What did you do? What are you doing?" And they started sharing. So in the handout that I got, everybody get one and maybe something to write with if you want to make any notes. And this is yours. Is if you want to have more freedom, and if you want to start working more with your true self, there isn't a roadmap. We aren't programmed because we have free will. So if you want that, you're going to have to start building your own roadmap. And I'm going to give you a few clues, and you can start today. Here are some of those affirming and empowering questions that you can ask. I've always got a little congestion. What is it that I am seeking? And for purposes of our discussion, let's say you're seeking to be a more peaceful person. So what are the qualities of a more peaceful person? And you can probably write that down on both sides of this piece of paper. And of those peaceful qualities, which ones do I have available to exhibit right now? Or when I'm in a really good mood and things are going my way, what can I access that I can start using more often? And then it's like, if I still don't have all the tools that I want to be a more peaceful person, how can I learn those? Where can I get those? Who can I model it from? And with the internet and with the library and just observation, you began to see, and Spirit will begin to give you more of those models, more of those words, more of those behaviors that you are seeking. And what must I give up to move forward? That's a hard one. Imagine that in your life, your mind is a series of closets that are just packed full of stuff. And you want to now make some more changes and bring in some new stuff. Probably you're going to have to unpack and give away and walk away from some of the stuff that is no longer working for you. And some of that is a little painful to give up because I really like that and that and that, but it doesn't work for you well anymore. So what can you give up? And this is one that spoke to me. What am I doing to co-pilot with divine spirit each step of the way? We're never alone. We often forget that all we have to do is ask. And divine spirit is always there, always present, always picks up the phone, always has her cell phone charged, and is there to be a ready and present help for you all the time. So please use your co-pilot. And lastly, am I willing to change? It's so much easier to talk about what we're going to do than it is to make and allow the change so it can happen. That's one of the reasons why New Year's resolutions tend to last, like less than a month. Even if you start down that path, you get distracted because we have trouble really being willing to make the change that's necessary. Where it says practice over here on the one fold, you can use this if you like, if you want to identify something. And there's a reason why it says I am, and that's very intentional. It doesn't say I'm going to, or I'm thinking about, or I might someday. It says I am. And it says I am because if you put it in the present tense, your mind and subconscious is already doing it. It's already positioning you to be a more peaceful person. So you have a base that you can begin to act from as a more peaceful person. So don't pretend by saying someday I'm going to, or I'm thinking about, or wouldn't it be nice if, instead frame that is I am already there. And it's easier for you to work from that base of strength. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Yeah. And I'm going to share with you something that came from Eileen Lighthawk in an earlier talk, in an earlier year. And that's the keys to freedom that she put together. And that's in the center of the handout. She identified keys to freedom. And if you follow down the bold letters on the left, you'll see they spell freedom. The first of those is to forgive everybody. And this might take a while. And you have to be willing to forgive, and especially yourself if you've been particularly condemning of your own actions and your own values and mistakes you've made. Release, let go. Not only forgive, but release. Don't let the trigger, don't let the charge live in your life. Take it off, walk away. Exhale. Don't hold the tightness in, let the tightness out. Embrace now. Don't embrace tomorrow. Don't embrace yesterday. Embrace the present moment. And decide, this is free will. Am I a victim? Am I something greater than a victim? Open your heart. If Barb Ryan were here today, you can be certain she would talk about the importance of love and the power of love and what would love do in this moment. Open your heart, even if it's hard. Even if you're having trouble forgiving. Even if you're having trouble releasing. Consciously begin to open your heart. It will change and better and enrich your life. And move forward. Joseph Bernard, when he comes here, and he works a lot with addicts, always talks about when we get stuck in our stories about the past, when that person did that horrible thing to me, and I'm going to carry it the rest of my life because it was so difficult. If you're living in the past, you have zero chance in living in the present. You have zero chance of creating in that moment, in that story, of finding peace and joy for yourself. So make the choice, be aware, make adjustments, choose a better contrast that works for you. And those things can give you great personal freedom and move you closer to your shining soul that's just waiting to open up. For you to take off your old clothes, your old ways, your old habits that are limitations for you. So this is yours. Write on it however you want. I've got a few more if you'd like to take one with you. Those of you on Zoom, I will mail you one of these so that you can make your own notes on it. So I'd like to take a couple moments now and move us into meditation. And the lights can be on or the lights can be off. It makes no difference to me. But I'm going to ask you to give me just a couple of minutes here and uncross whatever you have crossed. Your legs, your arms, just soften your shoulders. To allow yourself to be in this place at this time. And I'd like you to open to your breath. This is one of the easiest ways to move into the silence, to move into a quiet time, to move into receptivity. So breathing in from your nostrils, in through your head, into your throat, into your belly, and exhale. And breathing in through your nostrils, through your head, through your throat, into your lungs and into your upper lungs. We often don't breathe into those areas. And just continue to allow the breath to flow as if it's effortless, and observing it filling the inside of your body and releasing and breathing and releasing. And you might notice the outside world moving away. And in this state, you are close to what Fillmore called the silence, where you are receptive to prayers that you have made, desires of your heart, desires of your soul that you have expressed, knowingly or unknowingly, can move forward. And maybe you will get a signal, maybe you'll get an image, maybe like the Fillmores, you will get nothing. That in this sense of openness, you are allowing for life to begin to open in new and better ways for you. And as you come back to this time in this place, feel your feet, feel your fingers, feel your shoulders, feel the heaviness of your body. And know that you are beginning something new and something important that will allow your soul to shine. And now come back into this room, and as you're comfortable, open your eyes, move just a bit. And I hope with these words that you feel like you are a bit more comfortable to be free to express your own true nature. And thank you. It was rich and